Well, hello everybody. Welcome to what I believe is dawn. Hello everybody. It's your pal Mike Camo here on the 29th of December. We are here for dare entry. I think it's 119. Actually, I think it's 118. Yeah, it's 118. Because it'll be like, I think it'll be 489 or something like that. Yeah, so it's 118. Yeah, the reason why I'm backing off, the reason why I'm not going to record is because we already have enough views in hands, and I don't want to record every single day because we already have like 3,000. We already have 3,000, like 35 views or something like that for the year. We've crushed it this year, folks. But I won't say my thank yous till the 31st because I'm not going to get teary-eyed or anything like that because, but yeah. Reason why I'm going to record is because I have enough views in hand. We're going to hit 500 next year, quite possibly. So tomorrow is the 30th. We'll hit 490. We'll hit 491 for the year. Told you guys we'd hit anywhere between... Didn't I say at the beginning of the year, we'd probably hit anywhere between 480 and 500. I stuck to my guns, folks. I knew what I was doing. So, hello, everybody. It is a Friday morning. I just had breakfast via McDonald's because Uber Eats is a thing. And it's the last time we're going to order Uber Eats. So, I'm going to back off because I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. It depends. It depends on what we do on the 31st, Sunday. I don't know if we are going to do Chinese food or whatever we're going to do, but I can tell you guys this right now. So my vacation week recap, because technically the week is over and the weekend is here. I feel relaxed, and I think it's now that it's the weekend and now that we're going to be ushering in the new year in 2 days' time. It's just now that this is the last full weekday of the year, it's been relaxing. So, so I started my vacation last week, last Saturday when I got off at 2:00. So it's been relaxing. I stayed in bed the last couple of days. I know I shouldn't have, but I did. I got up early at 9:00 because I wanted to get my clock back in order when I go back on Monday at least. When I go back on Tuesday at least. So on the 2nd, I'll refresh and ready to go. It's been relaxing. I've actually been able to think to myself and actually do some stuff and not really have to think really and just be myself. It's just, I don't have to think about work, or I don't have to think about all the baloney that goes on. Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about work because I'm on vacation. It was a good year this year. The fact that I did half and half on the sales floor and also on dry sales floor, and then produce in the cold sales floor. A lot of people just think, oh, it's the sales floor, and then this is the box, as we call it, the cooler. We call it the box because it really is a cooler box. Anyway, it literally is a cooler box. But everybody says, oh, it's the box. It's on the sales floor. Well, technically, there's a bunch of people who forget that if it's on sale, it's on the sales floor. So it's on the sales floor last time I checked. People in retail just like to overhype it and do everything. It's like Hollywood when they overhype a movement. When people say, "Oh, they killed that role," They killed it. How about ace the role instead? Not kill it. If you killed the role, then you mean if you killed the character, if you killed the role, then it means you killed. You didn't do a very good job. How about ace the character instead? For those of you who say the word killed when they talk about a role, I know the slang because you guys want to sound all impressive when you guys talk about movies, but it's really called ace the role and do a good job. But yeah, so thought I'd do some highlights between here and Sunday, since I have literally Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I have 4 days left. This day is not half over because it is currently 10:45. So it was just beginning of my adventure. So hello everyone. I'm going to talk about the highlights of January and February. January, actually, yeah, so I'm going to do it. So there's 12 months, January, February. Yeah, so I'm going to do January, February, March, April. And then tomorrow is going to be May, June, July, August. Going to be the next 4 months. That's tomorrow. And then September, October, November, December. So I'm going to start with January. So January was actually somewhat not uneventful. So January started off pretty good. I remember just working my ass off, freezing my ass off doing carts all day long, which I didn't want doing because one of my coworkers wanted to do carts every 5 seconds because he wanted to go out and smoke weed every 5 seconds. Always offered me, passed the blunt to me, and says, "Oh, you should take a drag." He goes, "You should take a drag." This Portuguese kid who didn't know zero about life. Thank you. He goes, "Oh, you don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're missing." And I'm like, I'm not missing much. I'm not missing brain cells like you, though. Kid was totally horrible. He's like, "Oh, let's do cards. Because it's just, and then he go out and sit there and go, it's not our job. And I'm like, why the fuck you have him dragging me on here then? Sorry, you guys will never hear me swear and scream. So why the hell so I'm sitting there, why the hell are you dragging me out here then? So, then we did inventory. Got to watch the Rolex 24 at the beginning, and got to watch IMSA usher in the new GTP era, which Acura won, although they cheated with tire pressures. February. Oh yeah, by the way, the same inventory week that guy that used to do carts with me and the guy that used to annoy me to high hell and I didn't like him, he ended up blowing up and he ended up getting angry at some dude who he thought was looking at him, but he wasn't doing anything. He was paranoid, making all sorts of excuses, getting written up. So he ended up blowing up and he ended up leaving. Well, actually, they told him to leave, and no one wanted him because he was an idiot. Too much energy, and to be honest, I really didn't. He always thought I didn't do enough. I would literally come in. I swear to God. So I'd literally come in on Tuesday morning. I really come in on Monday morning, Tuesday morning after 2 days off, and he'd be like, "You were off for 2 days. You were off for 2 days. You said you didn't do any. You were off for 2 days. You didn't do any work. I don't give a shit. Neither do you." I said, "You don't even do anything when you are here. You sit there and complain." It's one of those types that you can be entertained by. After a while, I figured I could just be entertained by this guy because he's an idiot. So, if he's watching, Junior, if you're watching, you were the worst ever. So you were the worst teammate ever. I just had to play along with you because you were an idiot. Thank you. So February was kind of quiet. February was kind of quiet. That's when we started having to make changes on the floor so we could be more productive. That's when I stopped doing cart. That's when I stopped wanting to do cart. That's when we stopped. That's when we curbed doing carts after a while, and we started focusing on the floor more. Even though management didn't give a flying hoot about that. It was kind of the beginning of the process we'd be in right now, and kind of the reason why we developed it the way we did, because I kind of knew things were going to be going the way they were at the moment, but I'll get to that in the later editions. Also, we were trying to figure out if Miles was going to get. Also, during this time period, we were trying to figure out if Miles was going to get married or not. By the way, because of how arrangements were going and how things were going. So we didn't know if he was going to come back this way or if he was going to go down south. Things were up in the air. So Miles was, I think in February, March, Miles was well on his way to competing was on his way to try to compete in the playoffs with his team, the Trojans, for another time, I think it was like the third year in a row. And yeah, things were just hunky-dory. I'll get to the wedding when we get to August. So yeah, and then everybody was like, oh, okay, so it's much clearer now. We didn't know till I'm going to say, I'll tell you later in the highlights tomorrow about that. Because it's May, June, July, August is going to be tomorrow. So March is also the time when my dad and I were starting to think about going to Watkins Glen. I'll tell you all about that. March. February was, we watched, sports-wise, we were trying to root for the Bruins, try to win the Stanley Cup. So, February was around the time when we kind of knew that we were going to compete for the playoffs. They were killing it last year. This year, they're kind of, So, and for those Boston sports fans, you guys don't really need to know how that cookie crumbled, because I'm not going to cookie crumble, because you guys already know how that happened, and I was disappointed that nothing good of that happened, how they got snapped out of the first round. And I believe that was in April, so I think that's part of the coverage there. So March is when we started to kind of figure out that we were going to go back to Watkins. We were going to go to Watkins for the first time, not go to Lime Rock. March is also the time when we kind of started to, when I started to think about, what was going to happen at work and stuff like that. We kind of knew change was coming, because I'm going to say by early March, late March, early April, we kind of started to figure out that things weren't all hunky-dory in the world. So, and I remember Peter boss. I was out of earshot when this happened. But I think it was around April-ish, late March, early April-ish, that there was a meeting. There was a visit from Tony, our regional, who was actually very, very good, and actually sniffed out that there were some problems. After some investigation, he did it last year, and I think he started to conclude his investigation. This year, so sure, yeah, Sean Connery is going to enter. He's going to enter the vlog. So he did his James Bond style investigations, and he figured out something wasn't right. So what did he do? He investigated. He followed some leads, and then he figured out that some numbers weren't adding up, and said numbers weren't adding up. So what happened was one visit, he got a very negative rating, and Tony was like, and I just could see the look on Tony's face. Tony's like, nothing's adding up. And I think he went to Pete, and Pete, you say these are the numbers, and Salesforce not adding up. What you doing, man? And then eventually he actually went up to all of us. Now I was on lunch at this point. This was I used to do 10 to 6 when this happened. So this was probably about 3 o'clock. Probably about 3 o'clock. I usually go on through lunch at 3. He went to everybody, swear to God, and he says, you guys are all lucky. You union bum goes, you union bums are all lucky. You can't get fired. I can. And I'm like, somebody told me after it, and this is when Stevie was around. So this was definitely April. So so Stevie comes up to me. Steve, this guy I knew. He was a fellow. He was a fellow Joker and Sean Connery imitator, and he would exchange voices in the Sean Connery accent. So he'd say, "You wouldn't believe." So he comes up to me and goes, "You wouldn't believe what Pete said." And I said, "I dare say, what did Pete say?" I said, "What did Pete say?" And then we started doing this hoi polloi accent going on. I said, "Oh, I don't know what, Jeffrey. What did he say? What did he say?" And he says, "Pippin," and he said, and he'd be like, "Pippin, you wouldn't believe it. He said we were a bunch of union bums." I said, "Did he do that, sir? Did he say so, sir? Did he call us a bunch of union bums?" I take offense to that remark. I've challenged him to fisticuffs. That sort of thing. So that was kind of like the beginning of like the end of everything. So I'm gonna say, in the next edition, part 2, May, June, July, August, I'm gonna tell you guys how the end of that saga crumbled, and how I changed, and how at intermission before I went to the wedding, I actually changed divisions so I could actually make more money. But I'll get to that in a moment. But I'll get to that tomorrow. So, yeah. By the way, I'm not gonna. By the way, I think Steve. I'm not gonna include this in the highlights, but Steve actually got fired back in October. Got fired back early October, late October, early November, because he was just a bunch of other crap. So I'll highlight those when I get to them. So yes. we ended up with one of the challenge pick the fisticuff. We did it. We wanted to end. We wanted to end. I wanted to end this challenge with the fisticuffs. And we took offense to that remark. Pepper, I challenge you with the fisticuffs. But yeah. So it was an eventful early part of the year. It was kind of quiet. Then it started getting eventful. Sports wise, we got to watch the Daytona 500 in February. March was 12 hours of Sebring, and April was the Long Beach Grand Prix with the GTP cars. It was a pretty. Actually, I think it was just GTD and GTD Pro. Actually, I think they got rid of the prototype cars. And I think, plus Corvette actually won the Sebring 1,000 miles or the Sebring 1,000 miles, whatever it was, on their route to the championship. I'm going to include sports highlights as well. And the Red Sox started their season in April. Yay! And they had a horrible season. Boo. And the Bruins also lost in the first round to the Maple Leafs. And I couldn't believe it. After they had the best season since 1970, 71, 72, when they had Bobby Orr. Yeah, I can't believe it. I will continue May, June, July, August tomorrow, and we'll get into the fun stuff. We'll get into the fun stuff, folks. We'll get into the fun stuff when everything turned black. Turn black at work. And it turned green for me. All right, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. For episode 290 and 219 and episode 490. And then Sunday for 491. And episode 121, I think. Actually 120. Sorry, I lost count. We did over 120 episodes this year. Whoa, we beat last year. We beat last year's total. You guys haven't seen me do this since Joseph Garden won the Indy 500, which I will detail in May's thing, because we reached 120 episodes this year. This is so great. Blah, blah, blah. I'll never do that again. Peace out, everybody. I'll see you guys later. And remember, don't challenge anybody's to fisticuffs unless you know what you're doing. That goes for you too. Pippin and Jeffrey.